Hello there, TNA fam. We are back here at the Impact Zone podcast. Here again to talk more TNA wrestling shenanigans. And today, I want to talk about the situation with Leon Slater and AJ Styles, hence of Saturday night's main event the other day there. It was a few days ago, whatever it was. But I have been thinking about it, and a lot of people have wanted AJ to come back for the debut episode on AMC or Genesis, or, just in general, at least for one big time match, especially against Slater. And now he owns a victory over the X Division champion. Yes, it's in a tag team match, but what have you. That is pretty irrelevant, really, because people can get number one contenderships, or have got number one contenderships all the time from pinning somebody in a tag team match. I don't want to get people's hopes up too high about this, but, I think, again, if you're gonna do it, this is your chance to do it. You could still do it in 6 months or whatever it is, but strike while the iron's hot, guys, type thing, this just happened. He just beat him. And then you give Leon the chance, especially on that live episode. Everything else has pretty much been taped except for the end of year awards. And they've put out the, not the polls, but they've put out a few options for people on their social medias to vote. So you can go and do that if you want as well, at least at the time of recording. I don't know how long it's open for or whatever, but whatever. But yes, still. So yeah, you've got that opportunity for Leon to come out and say, hey, AJ, you pinned me, brah, but, and no one else has pinned, no one has pinned me in months or whatever it's been since I've won this thing, and I think you deserve a shot at this, so if you're willing to come and face me in the ring, walk down that aisle, and that should be like at the start of, at the start of the show, pretty much, I think. That or like the very next segment. It should be really early in the show because, you want to get that out there to be like, wait, they're actually, doing this thing? I think the problem, that's only if it's going to happen. If it's not going to happen, then don't bother doing it. But that's the way I would do it. I would say, okay, he goes out there, he says, hey, you pin me, you know a little bit about this title, and hey, I haven't been pinned since winning it, so I feel like, basically, and I feel like, I need to defend it against you. I can't be beat, while holding this thing, otherwise, my legitimacy is gone, type thing, I've got to defend this belt, against you. And it would, obviously you can get into more things later on, like saying it would be my honor to face you, all that sort of stuff. Because obviously it is. It would be for almost anyone. There's a lot of people that are there that want to face AJ. But, can it really happen? Here, at least you've got some, little bit of a story reason for it to kind of happen. At least now. He beat him in a tag match. Here we go. Type thing. And he's got all that history, and it would be so cool, obviously. I've already talked about a bunch of this sort of stuff, I suppose, but Leon hasn't really got an opponent or opponents right now. So you could do a whole lot for him to say, hey, even to say, oh yes, AJ loses, whatever. So what? you know, he's a legend, you know, in many ways. So it's like, well, you know, what will that hurt him? It won't really hurt him, especially since it's in TNA. People will be just pleased to see the guy, you know. So, but then again, you could say, well, does he win? You know, like, does he have that one last X Division run or whatever? I don't know. I don't see it happening because again, it's like, well, why would you do that when he's just going to be in WWE or whatever? You know, I don't see it, but yeah, whatever. It is what it is. But still, like, so you start teasing it, you know, and you have another match, and you have like Slater going to Santino Marella like backstage and saying, "Have you heard anything about AJ? You know, coming? You know, because I think they were in Texas, or they, you know, were in that same area roughly around that time. I think maybe, I don't know. Anyway, so you start saying, well, where is AJ at Raw? Or was he just at Raw? Or where was he? You know, was he in I don't know where where they're touring right now or whatever, and where they're going to be touring early next year or whatnot. So just start saying, oh yes, you know, AJ was just, you know, here or there or wherever it was, legitimately saying where they were. They were just doing this SmackDown taping or whatever it was. Well, it's actually whatever, you know, or just a vignette training, or he's at his, you know, residential home, you know, in blah blah blah, whatever. Go from there, and have Slater being like, you know, I take great pride in holding this belt, and I really want to make sure that people don't see me as being like a pushover or just a guy that, you know, can't carry this thing or whatever, you know. So you keep seeing him checking, and then like finally, because you're getting like this idea, like, because you're seeing it and seeing it and seeing it and seeing it, you know, and then you might be like, I don't know whether you see like anything until like the end or almost the end of the show. And it's like maybe like a couple minutes left in the show or something, like maybe 5 minutes or something. And Leon says, it looks like it's not going to happen. You know, like he comes down to the ring. He says, it looks like it's not going to happen. You know, I've been trying to have it happen, and I've tried to talk to, you know, Santino to see where AJ's at, or whether he, you know, wants to come here and face me or whatever, all this stuff. And then just as he's about to leave, get ready to fly, you know, hits, and AJ comes down and he's like, yeah, brother, I'll face you at Genesis. And then it goes off the air. And then you're like, holy shit, we've got to buy Genesis, bro. You know, like, that's what I'm saying about that live episode. You know, it's like, holy shit, you got AJ just at the end. And then it's like, that's all you need. Like, you don't need a lot. You've already kind of set up the story. And people will be into AJ versus Leon no matter what, without much story. They don't need a lot of story. You know, like, they really, really don't. I talk about, like a lot of stuff needs story, but you've already got a bit of story there. And you can create enough story with, like, over the night sort of narrative like this. Like, if you're just to have it, like, on that episode, I think that's a lot of, like, what, you know, the old school WCW used to do. Like, they used to shoot themselves in the foot by saying, oh, yeah, we're not going to put a lot of this stuff on pay-per-view, or we're not going to wait till the pay-per-view. We're too, you know, busy, you know, shooting for ratings on TV or whatever. This is a way to get ratings on TV, but also to make sure people are tuning in to your, you know, money-making sort of shows and whatnot. Not just, oh yeah, cool, we popped a rating or whatever. because that's the idea. Obviously, you've got to pop that rating, and if people are like hearing, hey, Leon called out AJ, and he's backstage trying to say, hey, where's AJ at, and all this stuff, you're getting this, sense of like, maybe he'll be here, but then you're seeing the whole show go by, and you're like, obviously you could again be like, you almost get to the end of the show, and then Leon says, it looks like it's not going to happen, but there's like 30 odd minutes left before the end of the show or something. But Leon says, it looks like it's not going to happen, and he starts to walk out saying, we needed a main event here for tonight, so you know what? I've got an open challenge right now for this X Division title. I've got to be a fighting champion, and I've got to defend this belt. And then get ready to fly. Yeah. And then it's AJ coming out in his wrestling gear and wrestles Leon to like a 30-minute draw. Do that. And then the show goes off the air, I don't know. I mean, like, obviously, like, you say, well, that's cool and all, but it's like, well, shouldn't you be like, oh man, let's give them 5 more minutes or whatever it is, or let's give them another half an hour or whatever it is, because like, let them wrestle, let them entertain people, and obviously the same idea at the pay-per-view. Maybe you don't have Leon like beat AJ. I don't know. You could have it be like a 30-minute draw. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't think that's that good, because it's like, again, when you're like, you're trying to push Leon, it's like, man, why would you put him in there just and it's like, does this or whatever. It's like, you've got to look at it like this is like the Sting to AJ angle kind of thing, like where Sting was, in that, I think it was a 4-way, maybe it was a 5-way, I can't remember, but he just sort of stepped aside and let AJ win, so you could kind of do a similar thing. I mean, you can't do it in the same way as like it's not a triple threat or a 4-way or whatever. It's a one-on-one match, but you can see that kind of storytelling. It's like, or obviously you could do 1,000 things. They could do whatever they want. The crowd will be in the palm of their hand, because this is a generational, or would be a generational matchup that everyone would want to see. Like, no one would not want to see this. Everyone would want to see this. Like, obviously, you've kind of somewhat sort of seen it in that match with Javon and Dragon Lee and whatnot. But still, like, to actually see these two go one-on-one for the X Division title, that's real cool. Like, taking it back to the roots of what it was when it sort of started, like AJ and that, like, it's an almost full circle moment. Like I said, that's why it's like, again, this is the sort of stuff that would, I mean, I don't know that you ever satiate wrestling fans sometimes, but it would make people go, wow, that was great, that was awesome, it probably sucks that we can't get it anything like that, but like, again, just for those few nights, or whatever it was like, we're so back. And that's the type of impact that we need to make. I mean, that's what they've got to be thinking like. They've got to be thinking like, stratospheric. You know what I mean? And even if they say, oh, well, it's not going to happen. Okay, oh, well, it's not going to happen. That's fine. Again, like, I'm not going to live and die by, things happening or not happening. I'm going to accept them for not happening or happening. I try to appreciate the things that we get in this thing. Like, sometimes I do go, oh man, come on, you got to pull your finger out, and you can't let your own biases or whatever else get in the way or whatever. Or if you don't like this person, why'd you freaking bring them in the first place? Like, or perhaps you thought, when you haven't really met them, like, you've seen their ring work or whatever, you're like, oh yeah, they're all right worker or whatever. But backstage, they're a dickhead. But, like, we've heard, like, from a lot of people saying, hey, the TNA locker room, that's pretty good. So it's like, well, that doesn't sound like there's many, like, dickheads there that are poisoning the punch bowl, so to speak, or whatever, pooping in the punch bowl, pissing in the punch bowl, whatever. That sort of thing. So, yeah, I just think it would, obviously, there's a bunch of other matches that you could imagine, and I tried to do it last year, I think it was, when I was like, oh yeah, it'd be cool to have AJ back, I do feel like the point at which, like, I think we now know that this, I thought that this partnership was almost over at the end of this next year, perhaps, but it might be going on for another year after that. So, and, like, that's where I'm starting to go, like, okay, what the frick can you do for the next, like, 2 years with this situation? Like, you know what I mean? I did say something there. I can't remember whether I said this on the posts here. Like, I wanted to see Danny Luna versus Jordan Grace again, because I felt like Danny has been on a incremental climb somewhat, and they've always been compared to each other in some ways and whatnot. I think they've had like 2 matches and Danny's lost like both of them. At least I think, I know they've had one and Danny lost it. So I don't know whether they've had more than one, but I can't remember. All I know is they've at least had one. So maybe they've had 2, but I can't remember. But yeah, like, if they had a second one, then Danny wins. Then it feels like, oh, cool. And especially at that time, at this time, or relative to now, it feels like, oh wow, now we're actually like putting her somewhat on a pedestal. We're starting to focus on her, or whatever. We're starting to go in that direction. We're starting to give her, a few more months to sort of be, I don't know, the piranha in the water, or whatever you want to call it, circling its prey sort of thing. And you, like, even if you job out a bunch of your baby faces to her, I say put job out in air quotes in some ways, but if you job out a few of your baby faces to her, it's not that bad, because you can always be like, well, shenanigans, and the babyface is now more motivated than ever to win, because now it's somebody that not only has the title, but also they lost to 6 months ago, whatever it was. So yeah, as said, I think Danny's one of the people that I feel like she should be the one to dethrone Langley, but not for a few months, please, because by God, I'm sick of the friggin' hot potato title. I'm so sick of the titles being like hot potatoes all the time, just changing from one person to another person to another person. And I know some of that was like, couldn't be avoided or whatever, but I think that, a lot of stuff was done by WWE, and a lot of things changed on the fly or whatever, because they were like, oh, well, they changed their mind on things or whatever. And that's the problem. It's like it seems like they can't keep anything straight or whatever. That's at least my perspective as watching it. But anyway, again, it's such a like it's such a money match without even having to really do a whole lot of anything. You've already kind of done something, and people again, without even them really doing anything. You know what I mean? All you've done is have this little rumor for a while. Now you've got this thing where Leon and AJ have been in a match together, and AJ has got the better of that. Plus, you've got the fact that Leon is, I know I've said this, but it's he's the champion. So when you beat a champion, when you pin a champion, especially when it's a babyface champion, it's well, you've got to run with that. You don't just go, oh, well, we did that for nothing. Obviously, Leon and Javon weren't winning. You know what I mean? So if they didn't have any plans for Leon and AJ, then either Dragon Lee or AJ would have just pinned Javon. You know what I mean? Or even so the fact that they pinned, and this is not burying Leon. I know some people might be like, oh, they're burying Leon over there. No. They're that's got to be some sort of something. That's not just, ring psychology 101 or whatever it is. Well, it is ring psychology 101 in a sense, because it is take it back to, okay, why pin this person with this person specifically? Why was that the call? It has to be the call because there has to be something more to it. You don't take an action, or you shouldn't take an action, without it meaning something, without it developing into something else. So again, I don't know. It's so tough because WWE hasn't really pulled the trigger on anyone going to TNA, but then again, WWE has been very happy to pull the trigger on people going to Japan to do stuff in that promotion. They've been very happy to send people to AAA, though again, I get that they technically own AAA or whatever. So there is that. I get that now, but it's they don't own what is it? Noah, I think, that they're working with over there. They don't own them. So it's well, I suppose they technically could own them, but I don't know whether they want to make that investment or not. But again, they've been perfectly fine sending people to Noah. They've been perfectly fine, doing a lot of different things, doing these European tours, France and whatnot, tours there and whatnot, Australian tours that they haven't done a whole lot of. So, just a lot of different things that they have done, and they've been willing for a while to be working with TNA, and they've been willing to be put some of these guys and gals and whatnot on the shows, on the main roster. I believe the only TNA stars that have appeared have been Mickie James, Jordan Grace, Joe Hendry, and now Leon. The other appearances have all been in NXT. So, and this is I don't know whether he actually appeared too much on TV, on Raw or SmackDown or whatever. I know he was on on the pay-per-view or the PLE or whatever, but I don't know how much. I'm sure, like, again, he was on NXT, so, but I don't know how much of a, like, I know the NXT has a smaller following than what WWE is, so fair. But they are the more hardcore fans, so I get that that's a little bit more of a trade-off or whatever, and you are getting to see some, more top talent, so to speak, but you're also getting to see, like, talent who are just, breaking in or whatever somewhat. But I do think and find that WWE, like, they don't really want, I don't think they really want to train people. I don't think that they really, really want to train people. I think that they would prefer just to be like, adapt people a little bit and then run with them, get them used to their style and their direction and their thing, and then, get them going for what they want. So, but no, I think it was like, it has to be, in my opinion. Like, unless WWE was like, oh yeah, maybe we will do it again, sort of thing, and then they're like pulling it out. Like, that's the thing. It's like they might have agreed to it, and then they were like, oh no, we can't actually deliver on that. So, or even if we can deliver on it, we can't have him lose or whatever. So that's why, again, like, I feel like there might be that level of, or even if he, they say, oh, well, he can lose, but he can only lose on TV or whatever, can't be on pay-per-view, or whatever. I don't know. That might be they might have some lines in the sand, so to speak, of like, yeah, we want to do this, or we want to let him do this or whatever, because we have, jerked you around and done some stuff or whatever else here and there, that we have promised and we haven't delivered or whatever. So, and hey, we've sent not just, Shinsuke, but AJ to other places, and we've sent, half of our roster to other places as well now. So, but yeah, anyway, guys, I think you get the point. I'm sure you guys do, because you're all pretty smart there. So, yeah, you'd have to be pretty smart to be watching these shows, honestly, because it's a pretty small channel still. So we only get so much of a reach out there, and only so many fans are sort of like into TNA, because they sort of, some people don't even know what it is, even though it's been around for like 20 goddamn years. Well, yeah, so, or more, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, so those are my thoughts on the situation as it is. Like, until, like, something is announced or something actually happens, we can't, like, say too much about it, I guess. It's just, like, speculation, or just, like, that slight, like, wait a minute, now, why did they do that? Like, surely if you're doing that, you've got to be, like, thinking, like, well, we've got to, there's got to be a payoff to this. Like, because otherwise we could have just pinned Javon, or somebody could have pinned Javon. Like, but maybe they were like, oh, yeah, we don't want our guy to take the pin, so we'll let the TNA guy take the pin, and, like, we'll wait to see the marks, try to put 2 and 2 together or whatever here, with, like, thinking that, like, even that, though, even, like, just that, like, saying, oh, yeah, we'll let the marks think that, we're going to let him go over there or whatever, but he's not, but whatever, that's fine in some ways, because that's, people being like, holy crap, maybe AJ is coming because he just beat Leon, so But yeah, guys, anyway, I hope you have enjoyed. Hope you'll join me again in another one.